Hello, and welcome to the War in the Pacific. It is the 15th of December, 1941, in the campaign between Wirraway and Encircled. Japanese naval forces are operating off Australia, running down units of Dutch Navy and the U.S. Asiatic Fleet, and perhaps even the RN. So two Mogamis catch up with Dutch cruisers. Java is sunk at close range. In the night action, Gromp escapes. Pair of destroyers tracking down enemy shipping. Interesting. I wonder what that was at Dutch Harbor. I was worried the Allied cruiser had showed up. Apparently not. So off Australia, I have two heavy cruiser task forces and a destroyer task force hunting enemy shipping. Some flush deckers are bombarding my troops at Cagayan. These flush deckers, I believe, are operating out of Manila. Uh, Probably bombardment was their original mission because they tangled with a amphibious task force and its escorts of mine last turn who were reinforcing my troops at Cagayan. So we'll see. Uh, Night bombardment by flush deck destroyers, not very effective. Who knew? Let's see what we catch during the day. Little AV. AP. Ah, I wonder what that our merchant cruiser is doing out there. I have 6 submarines operating off Rangoon. I-162. Looks like she's using her deck gun. I assume he's trying to get supplies into Burma and then on to China. Suzu and Kamano gets up with another small enemy. Oh, this would be an interesting action. Some World War I era Japanese destroyers uh, reclassified as torpedo boats against a oldish British destroyer. This could go either way. Looks like Japanese do pretty well, considering Thracians faster and better armed. A couple light cruisers stumble across. And Penguin, he was based out of Guam, I believe. 157 decides not to fire a torpedo. That was not your orders. We want all that shipping sunk. Oh, the two Mogamis catch up with Boise. Now, my suspicion is Boise's max speed is only about 20, 25 knots at this point. So the Mogamis have a 10 knot advantage on her. She should not escape. Interesting, her belt armor is holding up. Boise doesn't want to go down easily. So an 8-inch shell penetrated Boise's belt armor. She's managed to extend the range to 11,000. Interesting. So she's trying to disengage, but the two Japanese cruisers are too fast. And that'll be the end of her at 7,000 yards. Boise's 6-inch guns can't get through Kumano's armor, and her Kumano's 8-inch guns can get through Boise. So that'll be the end of that brave ship. The chase began all the way up in the Celebs almost a week ago and ends off northern Australia. Oh, round two. The Thracian is heavily damaged and on fire. Uh, Probably the end of her soon. Interesting, she didn't. She's by herself. If she had had her two consorts, this battle would have gone the other way around. Looks like one of my torpedo boats is pretty badly damaged. We'll see if she can make Saipan. Now pilots claiming lots of hits. Interesting, historically, at least the Japanese fighter pilots didn't do a lot of overclaiming when compared to their German, American, or English counterparts. But those Nell crews didn't read that text, apparently. They report hits on everything. Okay. Still some shipping in mm, off Australia, but my cruisers and destroyers are undoubtedly low on ammunition, and they accomplished really what they set out to do, which was run down Boise. Uh, they got out with Java and sunk some other shipping as they stumbled across it. They won't be able to sweep the seas completely clean, but they do a job. Okay, so good news. The Carrier Division 1 and 2 were sighted off New Zealand by the enemy. I say that's good news because I wanted them sighted. So that's the interesting. That's that battalion of infantry. I wonder where the base force is. Bombing my troops at Kagan. Um, Certainly, they're fighting a losing battle there, so fine. Relatively easy for me to reinforce. I can reinforce at my leisure. He cannot. Let's see. Looks like we mostly solved the problem of the Dutch fighters shooting down our naval search aircraft. I'm using recon aircraft right now for naval search over those Dutch bases. Because the Dutch fighters, presumably those interceptors. I lost a Jake and a Babs. Wow, he caught a Babs. Hmm. I guess I'll have to go further and use Dynas. No reason to give his pilots easy kills. Okay. So Lily's trying to keep this brigade from moving quickly. Speed through the rest of this. So interesting actions. One of my updated commander's critical information requirements is where is the remaining Royal Navy ships? Let's see if we have discovered them with naval search. Tank regiment running down Chinese. Shock attack Batavia. He doesn't have much there. So Batavia will fall pretty easily next turn, it looks like. That's good. Kuching, and take that base next turn, depending on how disrupted they are. Getting an airfield on Mindanao to support cap and recon as needed. Go through these pretty quickly. Oh, so I dropped paratroopers on Tumalo, but that regiment got there first. So that's going to make it's going to make it tricky. So instead of essentially taking an empty base and making him attack me, I'm going to have to try to distract that regiment long enough that it can't get into strat mode and get out of there. That's the goal of that operation. Potentially with the application of massed Japanese air power, it's still possible to keep that one brigade, sorry if I keep calling it a regiment, from escaping. Okay. So let's just check in on where we are. Aircraft losses today have been pretty modest. His losses will have been lots on ships, seagulls. So I had a Babs shot down. We saw that happen. Another Jake shot down. We saw that happen. Overall, aircraft losses still favor the Japanese, but Encircled's doing pretty darn well. He's a good, skilled tactician in the air. Shipping has been losses are very one-sided. So you can see we lost Isuzu a turn ago when she hit a mine and then was torpedoed. All the rest of our light cruisers that have been damaged by the Dutch submarines that were doing really solid work for him um, have made it to port. You can say I've lost 4 decent side transports. Again, Dutch torpedoes doing a lot of the heavy lifting there. Very little else in terms of my losses. Pulse in Prince of Wales, Boise and Canberra. You can see the general list of losses. This looks pretty accurate. I'm not sure. I think Trump escaped. And I think some of his tankers were destroyed off Sydney that don't show up, or in Sydney that don't show up here, but perhaps not. Okay, so we'll take Batavia next turn. Um, we're going to invade Cocos Island and then Cardiff 3, Zuikaku and Shokaku and her escorts will make for Georgetown. We're unloading uh, two Navy headquarters and a Space Force unit to get the required nav support at the level 4 port of Georgetown to be able to rearm the carrier, well, the carrier strike and the 15-inch guns in fast battleships. The fast battleships will also operate out of Georgetown along with a couple destroyer squadrons. Meanwhile, submarines supported by uh, Nels on nav search will try to sink the shipping he's sneaking in there. Not going to fight in the air over Rangoon at the moment. I need to use my limited fighter assets right now to do my best to win this fight or at least not lose this fight quickly at Pumalo so the armor units can get down to Malacca and cut him off. Um, he has some units at Malacca, and I committed my paratroopers here. I could have gone for this base, but at the time when I was reconning it, there were adequate troops there, though it was in the open. So I made a decision to drop here that might turn out to be the wrong decision. Hong Kong is in our hands, so we'll now redeploy divisions and artillery from here, along with those at Wenchao for Malay operations. Just about ready to attack at Siatso and then drive on Nanyang. Uh, we've got adequate recon in here, so we can figure out his troop dispositions and make that call. And we're going to extract this SNLF, hopefully, uh, assuming the USN doesn't show up this turn. They're in pretty good shape. They just don't have the combat power to take Dutch Harbor. So we're going to extract them and grab a couple bases here, establish naval air search, and decide whether or not to reinforce the Aleutian operation or not. Meanwhile, in the Santa Cruz Islands, we've established naval search. Uh, as expected, he tried to respond, but he was late getting there. Fast transports have already left. So he's been chasing ghosts. This is another heavy cruiser out there chasing ghosts. It's one of the problems if you don't have naval search aircraft to support your uh, surface ships. They're going in blind, and he's been again essentially ping-ponging around trying to catch my fast transport task force so far without success. Now that could change any time, but um, the main action is right here. This is the invasion task force heading for New Caledonia, and they will be supported by carrier divisions 1 and 2 uh, for the New Caledonia operation. And then they will combine with the forces at Rabaul, who are resting uh, and getting ready for an invasion of Suva. Let's see. He has shipping fleeing uh, east from the Philippines. We have nav search and patrol boats and destroyers out here running these down. So the only thing I didn't fully expect, that's actually destroyer, badly damaged. I didn't expect him to send surface combat units this way of any significance, uh, but um, fortunately, it was just one older destroyer. I do have the two light cruisers whose armor, where are they? Here, heading back into this area of operations uh, because their armor's proof. They were designed to defeat the flush deck destroyers. So we'll use them to operate in and around Mindanao as we continue to reinforce there. They won't hunt shipping. They're there to do their job, which was to fight flush American-made flush deck destroyers, and we'll see how they go. So such a great game. Circled is a really good opponent. And each turn is a nail biter. And I hope you're enjoying it and look forward to our next chance to talk.